Ooh, I can only imagine what our future would be like. You know, Michael Penix, Bijan, Drake, Nick Nash, Kyle Pitts on the offense. Great offensive line. And then defensively, A.J. Terrell, Kobe Bryant, Jesse Bates, perhaps Xavier Watts or Billy Bowman. Maybe both. And then the front seven, oh boy. James Pierce Jr., Jalen Walker, Arnold Epiketti, perhaps Ruki Ohoro if he likes to start playing well. I can't help but imagine the future of what that would look like. Who might get in this preseason, anything can happen. I would love to keep Nick Nash and Kobe Bryant though as the rookies. Well, the undrafted rookies, that is. Welcome back to Grizzly Talks Football. I'm the Grizz, and ladies and gentlemen, we got it 2025 tight ends tier list for the NFL. No, I'm not going through college football. That would take way too long. And I know you didn't sign up for that. Hell no, we're not throwing it back to episode 1 when it was like, what, almost an hour? I can assure you we are never doing that again. Not that long again. But anyways, if you are still looking for that Season 2 playlist for some reason, make sure to put it in the description below so you can go click on that link so you can watch every episode of Season 2 so you're all caught up. You also have for future episodes whenever they arrive. Do not, and I mean this, do not forget to hit the red subscribe button. What are you waiting for? And hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single one of my videos. That happens on the channel and helps a lot. And without further delay, let's rank some tight ends in the NFL. It's been actually quite a bit since I did a tier list, so I actually have 4 tiers. First tier, basically the best of the best tight ends in the league currently. Tier 2, tight ends that are actually a very good option as far as the tight end 1 or tight end 2 is concerned, but these are actually starting tight ends, so I mean like, some say fantasy leagues, some say they are very solid as a tight end 1. Not quite up there with the best yet. Tier 3, tight ends that are middle of the pack, not as good as the ones in tier 2, but they're not bad either. And finally, tier 4, players who haven't played yet and also are like kind of below average tight ends. I think I've wasted enough time talking about tiers. Let's start off with Mark Andrews. Am I a little concerned about what happened with that divisional round performance? Yes. Am I judging him on one playoff game? Hell nah. This guy, despite that game, is still a top 5 tight end in the league. It's so obvious and people just don't get it. The surges of a lot of tight ends is actually spectacular, but Andrews has got to be near the top of the list almost every time. The guy is still good. He's been a top 5 tight end for like, what, 5-6 years now? That hasn't changed. Up next we got Pat Freiermuth. Yeah, he's in tier 2. He's a very solid tight end 1. But it is kind of a battle between Pat Freiermuth and Darnell Washington, which I believe is bullshit. Freiermuth is a starting tight end day in and day out. Darnell Washington is a solid tight end too. I would put him in tier 3 though. I mean, overall, the tight ends in the AFC North, that's what division this list is starting with. Yeah, overall, the AFC North has some solid tight ends, at least solid. Freiermuth is so underappreciated, and he doesn't get enough love that he deserves. Up next, we got Mike Gesicki, now playing for the Bengals. You know, he's been good. He had a nice season with Cincinnati just this past year. I'm going to put him in tier 2. Tight ends don't really get that much love, but Mike Gesicki has been such a solid tight end for like quite a while now, even with the Dolphins and then the Bengals. I think he had a stint with the Patriots too. That was like some of his worst years of his career. He was like a tight end 2 on that team. I think his career survived now that he has a quarterback Joe Burrow. And the final tight end of the AFC North is the Browns, David Njoku. I'm going to put him in that category as well. He is definitely an above average tight end. I can't remember what draft he was drafted at. I think it was 2017 or maybe it was 2016. I can't remember. But this guy has been balling out ever since he got drafted. I mean, not like balling out like a Pro Bowler kind of guy. But he's been a solid tight end for the Browns ever since he was drafted. When guys like Odell Beckham, Amari Cooper, now Jerry Jeudy had B double covered, he always looked to the safety valve, and the safety valve for the Browns is really the tight end, Njoku, and he has been always delivering. It's just crazy that some of these tight ends just don't get the respect they deserve. Up next, we got the AFC East, starting with, I think that's Dalton Kincaid, or is that Dawson Knox? Nope, that's Dalton Kincaid, and I'm sorry. I'm going to have to put him in Tier 3 for right now. I think he had a pretty nice rookie season, but then just this past year, he kind of was non-existent. I still do see some upside in him, even though he is a Utah Ute. Yeah, fuck them Utes. But Kincaid does have some upside that hasn't been tested out yet. And with MVP Josh Allen now trying to defend his MVP status, maybe Kincaid could rise to the occasion again. Next up is Hunter Henry of the Patriots, and no surprise here, I'm putting him at tight end 2, or Tier 2, excuse me. Hunter Henry, ever since he caught into the league, he has been one of the most solid tight ends in the entire NFL. He had some time with the Chargers for a while, then he went to the Patriots, and he has still been the same, pretty consistently above average every year. I don't know if that's ever going to change. Mr. Safety Valve always doing nice in the AFC. Next up, we got the Dolphins' new tight end acquisition, Darren Waller. Right now, I'm actually going to put him in Tier 3. I do think he will be a nice addition to Miami. Despite losing Jonnu Smith to the Pittsburgh Steelers, they were able to fill that vacancy with Darren Waller, who is coming off, temporary retirement. Yeah, he sat out of the NFL for one season, then decided to come back. He may be a little bit rusty, but with enough practice and enough reps in training camp with the ones, I'm sure he'll be just fine connecting with Tua. That's just me, though. I don't know about how the season will go, but I'm excited for Darren Waller, Yellow Jacket, Georgia Tech. And finally, for the Jets, who the fuck is that? Wait a minute! That's Mason Taylor? Damn, I didn't know he was going to be starting for the Jets. If you don't know who this guy is, this guy was drafted, I think, either last year or this year by the New York Jets as a tight end. I can't remember which round. It might have been like 4th round pick. Oh no, he was a rookie tight end. He was picked in the 2nd round this year. As for where he's going to be at right now, I'm predicting it can't be worse than some other guys that will be on this list. Not sure what he's going to do. Yeah, I decided to make an exception with rookie tight ends. Since there are some talented rookie tight ends that are starting, I'm going to make an exception. I'm not going to put any of those rookie tight ends in Tier 4. I'm actually going to see how well they're going to do. I'm going to put them in the tier I predict they are going to perform this year. So for Mason Taylor, I'm putting him right around the middle of the pack. I don't think he's going to be as good as people intend him to be, but I'm sure there are plenty of worse options than him. If he plays well, congratulations, Mr. Taylor. You would have proved me wrong then. Speaking of rookies, starting with the AFC South is the Colts rookie tight end, Tyler Warren. I may be very high on this guy, but he has to be the best tight end since Dallas Clark, as far as Colts history. If there was ever such thing as tight end purgatory, I think ever since Dallas Clark left the Colts, they have been in tight end purgatory for like several years, and now they finally found their tight end 1. Hopefully. It won't matter because guess who's throwing the football? Mr. 47% completion percentage. Unless the Colts want to be smart and start Daniel Jones, who can actually best that. Up next, we got the Titans' Chika Kongwu. I still think he's a solid tight end, but right now I'm putting him in the middle of the pack. But like the high end of that. He is nowhere close to being a bad tight end at all. Like, he is so underappreciated for the Titans offense. They have been struggling because of the QB and sometimes the running back too. Ty J, come on, you could do better. I do think there is some potential out there that just hasn't been tapped into yet in Chig. Or is it Chig? I don't even know anymore. But keep your eye on this guy. He could surprise a lot of people this year. Speaking of surprises, next up is the Jaguars tight end, Brent Strange. If you have watched my AFC South hot takes, I predicted this guy would be a Pro Bowler for Jacksonville. I'm going to put him in Tier 3 for now, in the middle of the pack. He sat behind Evan Engram the past couple years. He's actually done pretty nicely for how many catches and touches he's been getting. So I wouldn't be surprised if Brenton Strange completely turns that around and turns it into a very solid tight end season. Especially with Trevor Lawrence coming back and slinging the rock. Hopefully with all these weapons that he's getting, including Travis Hunter, he might be able to do something in Jacksonville. And finally, we have Dalton Schultz of the Houston Texans. Stop underrating this guy. This guy is a good-ass tight end. C.J. Stroud had a down year, but that's not to say that Dalton Schultz wasn't bad. He was actually nice. Despite being overshadowed by guys like Nico Collins and perhaps Joe Mixon, I still think that Dalton Schultz has the potential to be one of the best tight ends, maybe even crack the top 10 tight ends in the league. Don't sleep on Dalton Schultz now. Now we move on to the AFC West, starting with the Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce. His whole Taylor Swift kind of dropped his performance last year, but I still think he is on the very high end of tier 2 right now. He's still one of the best tight ends in the league. It's just, he just kind of had it down here with the whole Taylor Swift gag. Hopefully he can get over that and move on to greater things, like perhaps winning a Super Bowl this time. And, he might be right up there with the best tight end in the league again. Up next, we got Evan Engram of the Denver Broncos. I still think Evan Engram is a very nice tight end. That was a huge acquisition, though, by the Broncos, because I think since Julius Thomas left, I think that was the last tight end that actually got a Pro Bowl nod as a Bronco. Yeah, so since he left, I think if the Colts tight end purgatory was bad enough, I think Broncos might have been worse. Maybe Virgil Green was above average for a couple years. Then they had that whole thing where they just could not find a good tight end whatsoever. Adam Troutman, I can't even think of anybody else now because they were all so bad. At least now this is a huge upgrade from what I just said before, Adam Troutman. Troutman was okay. Don't sleep on him though. I just think right now Evan Engram was probably the best tight end that they could get at the moment. Up next is the Raiders, Brock Bowers. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. This guy is one of the best tight ends in the league, and not even close. This guy had a monster season last year with the Raiders, despite the Raiders' offense sucking ass. He and Jacoby Myers last year were literally the only two good players on that offense. And man, the quarterback and running back position compared to the rest of the league was god-awful. And now they got Geno Smith and Ashley Gentry. Maybe he won't make as big of an impact as he did last year, but he will still be a very nice addition to that Raiders squad. At least a very good contributor. And finally, we have the Chargers tight end, Tyler Conklin. I do not feel like overrating this dude. I also do not feel like I should be underrating him. I'm putting him in the middle of the pack right now. I'm not saying he's going to be bad. I think he is a very solid option, that tight end. It's just, compared to the tight ends that I'm looking at, I just don't see him on their level right now. I'm not trying to throw shade about Tyler Conklin, but if we look at tiers 2 and 3, I think we can clearly see, there's no doubt about it. He is definitely on the same level as the 5 guys right next to him, but definitely not on the same level as the 8 guys above. Moving on to the NFC, first up the North, and first up we got the Lions tight end, Sam Laporta. Very good trick play pass recipient, but other than that, he was actually a very good tight end. I'm going to put him in tier 1 then. People give this guy so much shit for no reason. This guy is good and very, very good. That 15-2 season, people need to give some credit to Sam Laporta because he's been getting quite a bit of touchdowns. They always trust him to be on the receiving end of some of those trick plays that got him touchdowns. He's going to be there to answer whatever you'd like him to do. You ask him to go out there and run around and truck somebody, he going to do that. Whatever your imagination on the field takes you. He's just that huge of a contributor to that team. Up next is the Packers starting tight end, my guy, Tucker Kraft. I say my guy because this man actually was one of my very solid tight ends in the NFL whenever I played fantasy football. I'm going to put him in tier 2. Sure, the Packers were under the radar, but that's not to say that Tucker Kraft wasn't good because he was kind of the best receiver on that Packers squad. Overshadowed by guys like Jordan Love and Josh Jacobs in the backfield, but don't sleep on Tucker Kraft now. This guy is a very solid tight end. Speaking of solid tight ends, TJ Hockenson of the Vikings is right there along with him. Yep. Sure, he missed some time last year, but when he was playing, he was actually the third best option for that team. And I mean the third best, because out of every other target out there besides Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson, he's been the number one guy. He was good in Detroit, and he's good in Minnesota now. And finally, for the NFC North, we got the Bears rookie tight end, Colston Loveland. I still think this was a fucking mistake by the Bears. I'm so sick of these damn teams taking two starting level tight ends going with two starting tight ends in one whole thing. Colston Loveland is going to be middle of the pack for me, in my opinion. One, I have no idea what he's going to do because you haven't seen him play yet. And two, I don't even know anymore, man. You had a very reliable starter in Cole Kmet, and then you decided to draft his replacement? I understand having two starting level running backs. I would know because Bijan and Tyler Algier complement each other. But to have Colston Loveland and Cole Kmet, two receiving tight ends on one team, not good. Like, Cole Kmet is a very much well-rounded tight end. Like, he's good at pass blocking, run blocking, could definitely use some work. He's also a good receiver. Why you need a second tight end, bro? I swear, the Bears are still idiots, even with or without Eberflus. Now, moving on to the NFC West. Start off with 49ers, George Kittle. Enough said. Do I need to say anything else? This guy has always been one of the best tight ends in the league, and it's not even close. The only reason the 49ers didn't make the playoffs was because, say it with me, injuries, and sometimes Kyle Shanahan. Definitely not because of George Kittle. I can tell you that much. Speaking of best tight ends in the league, Trey McBride is right at the same category. Brock Bowers was the rookie receiving, receptions and yards records holders for rookie tight ends. Trey McBride was competing with him. I think I remember one game when he was with the Cardinals last year, and he had 10 catches, 130 yards, and a score or something like that. I swear this dude got 10 receptions a game. This dude is so reliable in an offense that basically featured Trey McBride, Michael Wilson, and nobody else. On the receiving game, that is, if you don't include James Conner. Unfortunately for him, he has a midget thrown to him. Kyler Murray. Next up on the NFC West, we got the Seattle Seahawks. It's showing Noah Fant, but he recently got released, so the new starting tight end is actually A.J. Barner. So I'll put Noah Fant on what I think of A.J. Barner, and I think he is in the bottom tier. Just for right now. Kenicho, thank you. I think it was still a fucking mistake to release Noah Fant. Now you're left with A.J. Barner. I think you still have something with your other tight end. I completely forgot his name again. Oh yeah, Elijah Arroyo from Miami. He may do something perhaps, but right now I gotta put the Seahawks tight end, whoever they decide to start, at the bottom tier until I can see them play and they impress me well enough. And finally we got the Rams and Tyler Higbee. I'm sorry, Rams fans, but I gotta put him in the middle of the pack right now. I'm not saying he's bad. He's just one of those guys that always gets overshadowed by his wideouts. Take, for example, Cooper Kupp when he had a triple crown receiver. There was a couple of names like Robert Woods, now Puka Nacua, now Devontae Adams in 2025. He's going to be overshadowing this guy. Tyler Higbee has been solid. It's just he hasn't exactly been playing at a high level at tight ends right now. And he's not really that talked about. Moving on to the NFC South. First up, Atlanta Falcons, Kyle Pitts. I would personally put this guy in tier 2 if he was a beast. But right now, I gotta put him in tier 3. It's just no other tier could put him in right now. Unfortunately, there were some speculations that he may his production drop because of bad QBs, and all that stuff, but I don't know, man. I'm starting to believe that claim less and less. And now entering his contract years, this is his chance to impress the coaches enough for him to stick around a little bit longer in the ATL. Now with a real quarterback in his arsenal. Unfortunately, his biggest memory with Michael Penix so far is his dropped interception against the Giants. Or at least his drop that resulted in an interception against New York. Prove me wrong, Kyle. Next up is Tampa Bay's Cade Otton. I gotta put him in middle of the pack also, but like on the high end. He has still been a very solid tight end. He's the guy from Washington, from the Pac-12. Well, now it's Big Ten, but he was in the Pac-12 when he played. He does get overshadowed at times by Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, and also Rashad White sometimes and Bucky Irvin now. That's not safe to say that Cade Otton was actually a very solid tight end. I would know because we play him twice a year. Up next is the Saints' Juwan Johnson, one of the bright spots of the Saints roster. I gotta put him in tier 2. He and More Missile were like some of the best, Juwan Johnson on one hand has been a very nice tight end to throw the ball to. As for Taysom Hill, well, he's been Mr. Do-It-All. Tight ends in New Orleans are actually pretty nice. And finally, from the Panthers, what is his name? Tommy Tremble? Compared to the rest of the league, I'm sorry, Mr. Tom. I gotta put you in tier 4. I'm sorry in advance. You're just not well known enough to be on the level of tier 3 at the moment. And now we move on to our final division, the NFC East, starting off with Dallas Goedert. Philadelphia Eagles tight end, Super Bowl champion tight end. I have got to put him in tier 2 undoubtedly. Ever since he got into the league and he started at tight end, he has been a very reliable target for every quarterback that threw the ball. Sure, guys like Alshon Jeffrey, A.J. Brown, now Devontae Smith kind of steal the shine there. But, that's why tight ends are so underappreciated nowadays. When I start ranking these tight ends, I think about how impactful they are. Dallas Goedert has been pretty impactful for those Eagles. Now for the Giants, I think that's Theo Johnson for the Giants. I haven't heard much about him yet, but right now I'm going to put him in tier 4 at the moment. Once again, I haven't really heard of Theo Johnson that much. Maybe he could play well. I don't know just yet. Up next, we got Washington Commanders' Zach Ertz. I could tell for a fact this guy's in tier 2. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. He's kind of going into the late stages of his career. He was a tight end for the Philadelphia Eagles for quite a while. Then I think he went to Arizona, and now he's in Washington, but he's always been solid. He's always been, at least competing for a Pro Bowl tight end spot. And finally, we have Jake Ferguson, a.k.a. the first tight end that I picked up in last year's fantasy. I'm not sure if I'll do that again, but I'm putting him in tier 2. Guy started off slow, but he actually started to pick it up as the season went on. And, I gotta applaud him for, doing his thing out there with Dallas, even though the Cowboys suck. By the way, these tiers are in no particular order. It's just where I rank these tight ends headed into this 2025 season. But as for Jake, besides CD and Jalen Tolbert, now there's going to be George Pickens to worry about. Jake Ferguson has been the second or third option as far as receiving targets. And this guy balls out whenever he gets the reception. And that's going to do it for the 2025 NFL tight end rankings for mid-camp. That's also going to do it for this episode of Grizzly Talks Football. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you give this a big fat thumbs up. Hit the red subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single one of my videos. It's the Grizz signing off for now, and until next time, and I'm going to see you guys later. Peace, love, keep the Grizzly vibes with you at all times. Take care.